Hey guys, welcome to my channel LearnTech. This is Sandeep Cole here. I hope you all are doing good. So today's video, which I'm going to take, is on again continuation of my foundation data series. If you have seen my last video, I have already taken a video on foundation data where I have discussed managing the organization. So we saw how to create an organization, how to create business units, departments, then how to define support structures, add people to the support structure. You can go through my video and you'll get to know how we do this. So, what we are going to see today is the remaining part of the foundation data. We'll see what are categorizations, what is geography, what is location, okay, and how we use them in the system. So, okay, let's get started. Last time, if you have seen that, what we did, we defined an organization, defined these different parameters, the unit, different, sorry, business unit, departments, support groups, and then we saw how we can access them in the case management. So today's video also, what we will do, we'll first of all define categorization. Now, before defining a categorization, we should know what is a categorization. So if you have seen my videos on ITSM, you might be knowing that what is an operational category, what's a product category, what's a resolution category, and what's a root cause category. So you would already know this. Root cause category is new, but resolution category, product category, and operational category, it's already explained. Let me give you just a brief of that. So, in an organization, we have an operations. An operation has been, we define operation into different departments. For example, I have an HR department. So in HR, there will be multiple, issues or multiple requests which I need to do. For example, there's an onboarding process where I need to onboard somebody. He has to get an email. He has to get an desktop. He has to get an email account, or he has to get some other, accessory things to be for his work. Similarly, for sales department, they have multiple requests. Okay, then we have other departments which are basically different operations or which are sorry which different departments are running different operations, and what we need to do whenever there's a request from a department, we need to categorize it. So how we do it, we define it in a three tier categories. So for example, if I go to existing categories which have been defined, if you see here, for example, this is accounts department, so there's an accounts payable category defined here. Under this accounts payable category, I have coding, invoices, purchase order, and vendor maintenance. So if I select any of this, under that I'll get the option. I think for invoicing there are options. So we have for invoicing, payment, pricing discrepancies, and receiving discrepancies. So what this is basically is that I'm categorizing this issue or categorizing this request. So whenever somebody who is going to work on this request, he'll know what he has to do. Okay, let's go back here. Now you know what is operational category. Similarly, product category is based on products. So ideally in ITSM, what we define product category for, it is basically, it's mostly defined for CMDB items like CIs or assets. We define the products. If I go here in the product category, you will see mostly things related to the IT infrastructure. For example, you will have network, you will have router, you will have database, you will have storage, SAN storages, disk drives, something like this. So this is all related to your infrastructure. So when you define a product category, it is related to a particular product. Similarly, in ITSM, we also have resolution categories. So sometimes, what happens that if I raise a request, I may be requesting something, but in actual, it has been resolved by doing something in the system. So then, at the time of the resolution, we define this resolution category. Root cause is a new thing. It's used in mostly in problem management. That whenever you are defining a root cause for any solution, then you can define this category. Okay, but the most important part here is this operational category. So we will see this operational category, how you can define a new operational category, and then how you can use it. Okay, so okay, now what we're going to do, we'll define this new category and see how this category will be then used in the case management. Okay, so before going on to the creation of a new category, what we will understand that, let's say we have to define the operations for HR. HR management, we need to define certain categories. We need to categorize certain operations from HR. So we are going to take that as an example. So let me click here on localize, then this one. So I will give it as a name as HR. Now, this is another option I have visible to all organizations. If I do not select it, it will be associated with a particular organization. You can define it, but as of now, we can define it as visible to all organizations. Now, if you have any description, you can define it. Otherwise, it's going to save this. Now, when I open this, so what I can do, I can associate this with a parent category, or I can define this as a parent category. So if I associate it with parent category, this becomes tier 2. So what I'm going to do, I'm considering this as parent, and then I will define child for this particular categories. So I would say in HR, there are two options now here. Either I associate existing categories or I define new categories. So I would say I will define tier 2 categories now. So I will define a name. So in HR, I would say there are two cases: request. So what I'm going to define here is either there's a request or there's an issue. Okay. So what I have done inside HR, I have two categories. Okay, I will save them. Okay, this saved now. Go here. Now here you can see I have defined an HR parent category. Then I have request and issue which are under this. Now I need to define the third category. So I will click on this issue. Then I need to go here in child categories, and here I can associate the existing one or I can define a new category. So I would say here re- related. So I have one issue is leave related. The other one can be related to the payroll. So I would say payroll. Okay, I'll save this. Similarly, what I can do, I have saved this. Then what I can do here, I I have defined two categories for this issue. Similarly, I'll define one category for request. So just for an example, not here. I need to go to child categories, new category, and then here I would say leave related. What I can do instead of going here, defining new one, but associate the one I created. So I would relate this leave related with this one, and I will save this. I think this is saved. Okay, now we'll see how this will be. Okay, now we have defined this operational category. What I will go, I'll go to the case, and here I would see if I can search this. Okay, then you can see under HR, I'm getting two options: issue and request. If I select issue, then under issue I'll get payroll. Similarly, under request, I will get l- leave related. So okay, now what I did actually, I created two requests, but I then moved them to. I created two under issue, then I moved it to request. So now currently I have only one under issue, and under request I have one category. So similarly, you can define your categories here, and then it can be accessible in the case management application or the Helix applications. Now we have seen operation category. Similarly, the product categories. It is basically you can define product categories based on different type of products. So you can, um, ideally they have defined all the basic infrastructure categories like routers, switches, processing unit, servers, databases, so on and so forth. But if you want to define a new category, that also can be done here. So the process is same. I'll not go detail into this. It's same process. You can define your product categories here. Similarly, the resolution category is also, as I explained you earlier, whenever you are, for example, when a ticket is being resolved, the system, the person who is basically working on the ticket, the IT person. So if I have requested something, but in turn to resolve this case, I need that the issue was resolved by something else, and in that case we define a new resolution category. So we will have initially operational categories, and then when while resolving the ticket we'll get these resolution categories. We normally use this with ITSM. If you see here, if I go here in the this is my ITSM. So here you can see operational category, resolution product category is resolution category. This is what I was talking about. So you can use it here, and the product category also you can use it here once you define it here. So if you click on this hardware, then it's a similar process. Then under card, this, and then the main CI. Okay. Now for the new resolution category, you can define it from here, and then you can use it in your operations. Okay. Now we will move on to the geographical locations. By default, all the countries codes we have already defined into the system. So if I go in cities, you will see the list of cities which have been defined. Then if I go to countries, you will see most of the countries have been defined. But in case you want to add certain postal codes, you want to add state, provinces, then you can add them here. The time zones, if you want to define your time zones here, they have generic time zones, or mostly whatever we use has been already added. You don't have to do much here. It will be already added. But in case you want to define it, you can define it. Okay. Then this is the most important part, location. Location is as I already explained you in foundation data for ITSM, that it is the site for which the ticket has been created. For example, the importance of this location is it can be understood from in this way. For example, I have an issue with my printer, so I raise a request. Then for example, my organization is scattered across globe and there are multiple branches. So let's say I raise a request that my printer isn't working, there's a printer number out to it, and then I will say my printer isn't. But when it goes to IT team, how the system will route this ticket to the correct team. For example, I am sitting somewhere in, let's say in USA, and then the ticket, whenever it is raised, it should land to the IT team, which is basically based in my on the bay where I'm basically seated, because that team has to come and fix my issue. So we need to have that location in a ticket, and this signifies the importance of location in a ticket. Now, how the location has been defined here in ITSM? It's basically region, site area, and area. So regions are main regions. You have Asia Pacific, Central Asia, Asia. They're also already defined. If you want to define your own regions, you can define it. But like EMEA, we have Central America, North America. Then under that we have site area. Site areas we have. So site areas, if you see here, you can define site area is a broader area which has multiple sites. For example, a particular province or particular area where you have multiple buildings or multiple offices, that can be defined as an area. Then, for example, Austin, St. Joe's is a main site area. Then under the site area, this is basically in ITSM terms, this is region, sub-region, and the site. Okay, now they have changed it this name as site area, but this is basically region, sub-region, and the site. Site is the actual site which you will be able to see it. For example, if I have to define a new site name, I would say new site name. Just give it any name. Then I have to type it's a business or residential. Business status enable. Then country. I would say, let's say I'll select India. Then state, province, any state I'll select. Then city. I need to define this city. Or if I, let's see, I will select something which I'm familiar. I would say. Mm, okay, I think it's not okay. Under this, I think they haven't defined it. So we need to define it under the geographies, then it will come here. So we will keep this as it is. Postal codes will also be same. Then this is the main site. Okay, so I would say Jammu site. Okay, and then additional site details. If you want to put then time zone, you can define. Can select it. This is the same thing what you define in geography. It will come here. Okay, this is very simple and straightforward. So I'm not. You can see here. Now this site has been added. I would say Jammu. I think it has not. It's not coming. Site name is. Let me sort it by the creation. Okay, just a minute. Let me see. Okay, sorry, we give it this site name as a new site name. So this is this new site name. And now if I go into the case and here, if I go to the location site, so it is here itself like it is for an individual. You'll be get to know this site. Now if I change the site of this particular requester to the one I have defined, then it will move there. Similarly here also you can search new site name and then this is the case site. That means where the case has been where the case has been raised. Now, so okay, this is the way you define a new site here in the in Helix, and then you use it here. It's a very straight and simple process. You define something here, and then you are used in here. There's a link between locations and then your geographical locations and the sites, and then based on that, you will use them in your tickets. I think this is it from the foundation data. Hope you have understood it. If there is anything, you can ask me. You can send me an email, or you can put it in the comments. I will definitely reply it.